The internet is filled with videos of people behaving like buffoons in the Globo gym setting. Despite what you may have experienced or witnessed, there is such a thing as gym etiquette, and today we make that crystal clear through a sort of 10 commandments of public gym use. I'm Andy Miller, certified strength and conditioning specialist, and I help you learn as you train and enjoy your lifts again without having to figure it out for yourself. This one goes out to all my noobs, women who are training in the public gym setting and want to, 1, be sure you're behaving right and not breaking any unwritten rules, and 2, know what is and is not acceptable behavior from others in the gym setting. You might think a lot of this is common sense, and you may be correct in thinking that, but also, common sense is hard to come by. Before we dive into number 1, if you are a noob in the gym, be sure to check out my beginner's guide to free weights video and download my free 3-day mobility and core to implement into your training, whether you are following my programming or someone else's. The first of the Globo Gym 10 commandments is put your weights away. What's the worst part of weightlifting and why is it unloading and re-racking your weights? I know it can be tempting for some to leave your squat bar loaded or not haul your dumbbells back to the rack, but do it. Other people won't, and it will undoubtedly piss you off. So don't be the person whose decisions lead to other angry members at the gym. It's super disrespectful to leave your equipment out. Whether it was where it belonged when you started using it or not, please put it back in its rightful place after you use it. Frankly, this is just part of being an adult and using the gym. Number 2 is to wipe down your equipment, particularly if you are a sweater. For this one especially, don't depend on others to do this. It is enraging when you go to use a bench and the last member left their bodily fluids to dry on the leather. It's disgusting. Protect yourself and carry your own towel and cleaner if you can. Otherwise, use whatever your gym provides. But absolutely be prepared to clean up other people's messes. Number 3 is be open to working in with others. Yes, you can and I believe should be open to sharing equipment with other members. Most people take rest between sets and are supersetting their exercises. So while it may not be your first choice to share, it is absolutely proper gym etiquette to do so. Please feel free to ask to work in with others and be open to letting others work in with you if you're using a piece or multiple pieces of equipment. Other members are not being an asshole for asking, and neither are you. You want to complete your program as assigned, and so do they. The 4th commandment, be courteous when using more than one piece of equipment for supersets. How much space is acceptable to take up in the gym? I encourage people to just be courteous and use your brain. When I program for clients and I am aware that I might be programming a superset that requires the client to use 2 pieces of equipment that are not in close proximity, I always let them know they can do single sets versus a superset if it's not appropriate to hold both stations. You can totally set your belongings next to or on a piece of equipment, and generally that's an acceptable form of communication that this piece is currently occupied. But don't be surprised if someone asks to work in with you in that situation, especially during peak hours. That brings us to one of my favorites and why I love my home gym. Number 5 is to limit speaking to others as much as possible and never attempt to speak to someone while they are exercising. This is one of those duh rules that doesn't seem to be so obvious to other people. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have literally been under the barbell doing squats or deadlifts or bench, and someone has literally come up to me to ask how many sets I have, if they can work in, or to offer unsolicited advice. The internal rage. There's nothing like it. You're often dumbfounded and don't know how to respond when this happens because you're in slight disbelief that it is in fact happening. And when it does happen, if you're in a Globo gym setting, you have every right to fully ignore the person until you are done. Ask them to move or tell them to move. I want to be crystal clear that in this scenario, they are in the wrong. Period. Generally, you want other people to respect your space within the public setting, and it's expected that you respect other people's space. If you do need to speak to someone or get their attention, wait until they're in a rest period or between sets and be respectful in your delivery. That leads to another one of my favorites. Commandment number 6, Leave space if available. This applies to so many scenarios: treadmill use, bench use, and my favorite, when the benches or hip thrusts are set up directly across from a front-facing machine. Lord, I don't know why any gym owner does this. In my Gold's Gym, I hip thrusted off the end of a bench press, and they did not stagger the equipment like they should have, in my opinion. So whether hip thrusting or benching, if someone sat at the seated chest fly in front of you, they got a complete crotch shot of you doing whatever exercise you were doing. So it was just super awkward for both parties involved. Let me know in the comments below what gym you are currently working out at or plan to. Gold's Gym has been my favorite by far in my style of training. When possible, keep your eyes to yourself and create space if it's available. Obviously, if the gym is packed, it's what it is, and you're going to be close to people, in which case I'd keep your belongings very near to you and out of other people's way. In the cardio station, or where there is more than one type of machine for the same exercise, it's common courtesy to leave a treadmill in between or a machine between you and the other person using the machine as well. Whenever somebody comes up and uses the treadmill right next to you, or does standing curls right off your shoulder when you're doing seated presses in the free weights area, like, what are we doing here? It's so awkward. Again, common sense. It's very hard to not think that that person doesn't have ulterior motives. It could just be a complete, utter lack of spatial awareness, but that's really hard for me to buy. Number 7, practice time management. Most gyms have limits on cardio equipment, but also be aware of 2 things. Number 1 is the amount of traffic. Is it super busy or not? Number 2 is how many of these machines exist in the gym. Those 2 factors should help you determine how quick you need to be in your use of them. By all means, take your full program rest, but try not to get distracted on your phone, letting 5 minutes pass by in between your quad extension sets. Number 8 is to limit phone use that affects others. Have you ever been in the gym and someone takes a phone call via Bluetooth headphones? And it's like, just because we can't hear the other party in the conversation, the gym member thinks we can't hear them either. It baffles me. Get off your phone, text them, or answer quietly and say, hey, I'm at the gym, I'll call you after. I feel like I am talking to middle schoolers right now. I don't think you are. People are really out here acting like they're in a private home gym sometimes. Don't listen to music too loud or that others can hear. Don't watch freaking TikTok with sound. Don't FaceTime, etc. It's not hard. Go to the gym, put on your headphones, lift, go home. Number 9, follow your gym rules. As someone who follows rules only if they're not stupid, I can understand the struggle here. When my Gold's Gym started putting up signage requiring shoes to be worn at all times, I understood why, but also like I need to deadlift in socks. Most gyms have noise restrictions of some kind or rules that they have listed around the gym. And listen, I get it. Grunting to get a max effort lift out makes sense, or letting out a sigh after a really hard sense. These are totally expected, I think, but again, the gym does not revolve around you. Your truth might be grunting with every rep of flat bench chest flies, but that is not the objective truth for the rest of the gym, okay? Don't do it. It's not necessary. The last commandment, number 10, practice base level hygiene. I know we all make our own decisions, but you're not working out in your garage. You're in a public space, sharing equipment with other people, and you may be required to be in close proximity to other people. Don't crop dust people, handle your gas, go to the bathroom, create enough space that you're not impairing other people's ability to breathe. Wear deodorant of some kind or essential oils that limit body odor if that's your thing. I don't know if this falls under hygiene, but also like don't chew gum, spit. It's just generally a no-go. And yes, these are all things I've experienced in the gym. It's just best to keep as much of your own bodily fluids in your body and on your person as possible. A bonus for my influencers. I'm like kind of kidding, but also kind of not kidding. What is the tea with filming your lifts? In my opinion, as someone who literally built their online presence via filming lifts in a public setting, you need to remember it's not your gym. There's some give and take here. I get that it's frustrating when somebody walks in front of your phone if you are filming. It pisses me off too, but also, oh well, you're in a public gym and most people aren't looking out for phones propped up against water bottles sitting on the floor when they're just trying to get their lift in. So while you may be hyper aware of this and therefore courteous of other people who are filming, not everyone is Gen Z or a millennial. Not everyone films their lifts, though I do encourage most people to do so. I digress. I hope that this video provided 1, permission to take up just enough space in the gym, and 2, to hold others accountable for their behavior in a public setting as well. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more. Have fun out there and tell them Annie sent you.